From the Republic to the Empire, we have seen many different walkers in Star Wars, from the infamous AT-AT on Hoth to the AT-TE on Geonosis. So in this video, we're going to try to categorize all walkers that we see in the Star Wars universe, and for the sake of the video, we're going to keep it to only walkers that are manually piloted, not any autonomous walkers. So let's get started off with Republic walkers. The All-Terrain Tactical Enforcer, or the AT-TE, being used on Geonosis for the first time at the start of the Clone Wars, and was the mainline combat walker for the Grand Army of the Republic that we see all across the galaxy during the Clone Wars. Then we have the AT-RT, or the All-Terrain Reconnaissance Transport. This was also a popular sight during the Clone Wars and also being used on frontier worlds. Then we move on to the lesser known Republic walkers like the self-propelled heavy artillery turbo laser, or the SPHA, which we also get to see on Geonosis taking down Trade Federation ships. And after that, the SPHA kind of disappeared in the Grand Army of the Republic, kind of like the AT-AP, or the All-Terrain Attack Pod, which I believe we only see briefly on Kashyyyk during the Separatist invasion. And then an even lesser known Republic walker is the All-Terrain Open Transport, which I believe we only see on Volusia during Order 66, and this walker was more or less used to transport large amounts of Republic clone troopers. Moving on to Imperial walkers, we have the All-Terrain Armored Transport, or the AT-AT, that we all know and love, first being seen on the planet Hoth and later all across the galaxy as the Empire spread. And then its cousin, the All-Terrain Armored Cargo Transport, or the AT-ACT, which we first see on the Battle of Scarif during Rogue One. And then of course there is the All-Terrain Scout Transport, or the AT-ST. The AT-ST, believe it or not, is actually one of the final renditions of the Imperial walker, and there are actually quite a bit of lesser known Imperial walkers that helped inspire the design and final form of the AT-ST, like the All-Terrain Defense Pod, or AT-DP. And then there is the All-Terrain Armored Cannon, or the AT-AC, which we see recently in Maul Shadowlord and the Bad Batch being deployed to urban environments. And then there is the All-Terrain Defense Turret, or the AT-DP, which we can see being deployed on Mimban during the Solo movie. And the Imperial campaign on Mimban is actually where they used a lot of experimental technology to test them in the field to see how they would do on other planets due to the harsh conditions of Mimban. So it looks like the AT-DP didn't make the cut, and that's why we only see it in the Solo movie and the Mimban campaign. And then there are about 3 really lesser known Imperial walkers like the All-Terrain Anti-Aircraft, the All-Terrain Missile Platform, and the All-Terrain Personnel Transport. A lot of these appeared to be in video games or one-off Imperial walkers that aren't necessarily full-blown canon, but we do have some records of them within the Star Wars universe, so I thought I would add them. The First Order also had a number of new and unique walkers that we barely get to see in any of the sequel trilogies, like the All-Terrain Heavy Hauler, or the AT-HH, the All-Terrain Heavy Scout, or the AT-HS, the All-Terrain Mega Caliber 6, or the AT-M6, which is probably one of the coolest Imperial walkers, just basically a giant AT-AT upgraded to the max. And then there is the All-Terrain Patrol Droid, or the AT-PD, and then there is the Urban Assault Tripod Transport, or the UATT, which I don't even know where this one came from Star Wars, but this one is certainly one of the more unique ones. And of course, the First Order also used AT-ATs and AT-STs that were left over from the Imperial era, but since they were already mentioned, I don't really want to go into a lot of the different variants that the AT-AT and the AT-ST had, but nonetheless, those are some of the unique walkers that the First Order had. The Rebellion didn't really have any notable walkers to add to the conversation in terms of walkers in the Star Wars universe, but I was able to find an enhanced AT-AP walker, which was a repurposed Imperial walker that we can see again in a Star Wars video game, and is kind of the only notable or only use case of the Rebellion using walkers. And then moving on to civilian walkers like the Heavy Industrial Crane Transport, or the HICT, which we can see these on scrapyards like Ferrix, and also the Moon of Trask, which takes the Razor Crest out of the water. And there's also similar models like the OICT, which again was more industrial use. And then there is the TRRL3, or the Terrapin-class bulker tanker, which was used by the Corellian Mining Company. And then I'll throw in the ATRT again, since that was used on frontier worlds by civilians, and we can even see the Mandalorian Din Djarin using one in the new Mandalorian and Grogu movie. So again, I feel like that would fall under the category of civilian walkers. I couldn't find any other civilian walkers that were in use, or anything that was kind of, again, notable to add. So those are about all of the different walkers that I could find in the Star Wars universe. Just about all of them were built by the Quad Drive Yards, going from the Republic to the Imperial to then the First Order. They all came from the Quad Drive Yards, or the Roth Anna Heavy Engineering Company, which is in line with Imperial and Republic manufacturers. So with that, those are all of the walkers I could find across the Star Wars universe. Comment down below which ones I missed, and again, I know I missed a lot of different variants of like the AT-AT and the AT-ST. So which ones are your favorite? Comment down below, subscribe if you would like, and until next video, goodbye.